Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good day, wherever you are. A very warm welcome to you all, our honorable speaker, participants, students, and professionals. It is an honor to be here with you today, and our sincere gratitude for joining SPE Young Professionals Technical Discussion Group, organized by SPEYP Java Indonesia section. I am Deva Tasya Ulita. You can call me Deva. I'm a reservoir engineer working with Schlumberger Indonesia and SPE Java YP chairperson. Today, I will be your moderator for the discussion themed Integrated Reservoir Performance Management, a proven way to optimize production and reduce cost in mature fields. As we are probably aware, most of the fields in the world are now categorized as mature fields, including also in Indonesia. And this condition poses many different challenges, if not more difficult, as we are dealing with complex wellbore problems, aging facilities, and limited budget. Previously, operator companies engage a service company for specific products and services. However, the remuneration for these products and services are not directly related to the performance of the assets. Therefore, the focus of service company will be different from operator company. By implementing integrated reservoir and asset management contract, the operator company and service company can be aligned to optimize the performance of the assets. In this session, we would discuss how operators and service companies could collaborate to come up with the optimum field development plan. Introducing our speaker, Beryl Audrey. Beryl is a senior production technologist with Schlumberger, currently based in Gatwick, United Kingdom. She graduated from Petroleum Engineering Trisakti University. Then she joined Schlumberger in 2007 as field engineer in Duri, Indonesia. And after that, she joined Schlumberger Consulting Services to work on several field development plans for various fields in Indonesia. She moved out from Indonesia in 2011, where she joined Schlumberger Production Management and involved in asset production management in offshore oil field in Malaysia, tight gas field in Romania, and an exploration project in Oman. In the end of 2016, she joined technical team that support business development for new asset acquisition selection in Dubai, where she is responsible to deliver a conceptual completion design, whilst CapEx and OpEx for various assets in India, Middle East, Nigeria, and Southeast Asia. This role continues until now, with bigger area to cover from Far East to Latin America. Beryl is also an instructor in Schlumberger Learning Center in France, where she led a production workflow class and teach applied production management and optimization module since 2014. All right. Before we continue to the speaker session, I would like to remind the participants, if you have any question during and after the presentation, please type them in the chat box feature in the format. You can ask them in two formats. So if you want to ask the question directly, you can type name dash by mic, or if you want to ask the questions via chat box, just type the question in the format name dash by chat, that's the question. And also for the students, please stay tuned till the end, because we're going to have a feedback form where you can ask for certificates if you need them. All right, now without further ado, let's welcome our speaker, Beryl. Over to you.
Give me 1 minute, Deva. Let me share my screen.
Sure.
Can you see my screen?
Or
it's not yet?
1 second. Oh, it's coming.
Okay.
Yep, you can see it now.
Okay, great. So good evening, everyone. I know it's quite late, maybe for you guys in Jakarta. So as Deva, thank you so much for the introductions. As what Deva mentioned, my name is Beryl Audrey. You can call me Beryl, and I'm a senior production technologist in Schlumberger. So today I will do a short presentations about integrated reservoir performance management as a proven way to optimize productions and reduce costs in mature fields. So this presentation was made as an article last year for RIAD.me, and actually it was written as a team efforts between me and two of my other colleagues. Unfortunately, both of them unable to join this presentation because of other commitments. So the agenda of this presentation, I will start with introducing what is the market drivers for this kind of integrated performance or integrated project management type of contract. And then what is the solutions for this type of market drivers, the commercial models that commonly used in the market, a case study that we have done, and the conclusion. Short and simple. So first is the market driver. So the market driver for the first one is a growing number of mature assets under the NOC's management. As you can see on the right-hand side is the data that we got from Rystad a few months back, actually. So we can see that the decline rate of a marginal field around the world are increasing year by year. The blue bar representing the offshore assets, and the yellow bar is representing the onshore assets. And with these effects, the NOC will require assistance to arrest the decline and exploring a new models to maintain their production, especially in the offshore asset. The second market driver is a ramp-up asset divestiture activity. Again, based on the Rystad, there is an increase of a transaction of diversification of asset in H2 2020. The IOC start to divesting the non-core assets to independent players or private equity. On your right bottom side is the data again from the Rystad Energy about the E&P 2020 and 2021 transaction. I took one of the two biggest player of oil and gas, which is Shell and Exxon. Shell itself already announced that they will sell their Alaskan lease, and they are going to sell and divest their Egypt assets. While Exxon, they're already going to plan to sell to divest the UK and the Germany assets, and they also have a possibility to divest their assets in the Vietnam. The third market drivers for this kind of project is a new industry players. So new industry players usually is a private equity or investor who have a big funding. And unfortunately, all of these new players, private equity or this investor, have a very limited resources in terms of technical expertise and an asset management experience. Last but not least, a digital transformation is also the market drivers in this type of contract, because as we all know, nowadays, digital and technology is a very important aspect to unlock the value, especially in the mature fields. So the solutions is integrated contract. So we sign an integrated contract between the E&P companies, regardless is an NOC, IOC, private equity, or investor, basically the operators, with an oil and gas service companies. In this case, it's Schlumberger. So with this integrated contract, the E&P companies or the operator will have an access to the digital technologies and the technical expertise that service company has. The new players, the investor or the private equity, will also have an access to a workflow and the governance process that has been proven and built by the service companies, and also take granted an asset management capabilities that service companies already have. There will be also a value of cost optimization, because most of the time the service company will build a specific price book with a fair market price for the oil operator. And last but not least, a reputation. Why reputation is important? Because I attend few meetings in front of the banks and investor. And apparently when they heard a reputable name behind the new player, behind these private equities or investor, the banks will more easy to give loan for them to develop the field. So reputation is also important aspect for the integrated contract. Now we are going to talk about the commercial models. Right? So there are 3 types of commercial models in here. First is the operation performance. The second one is a production performance. The third one is a bonus per barrel, or commonly known as production management. So I'm going to discuss one by one. The first one is about the operation performance. So what is the value of the operation performance model for the customer? The first value is operational and budget de-risking, planning efficiency, and execution capacity. Why? Because usually what we do is we put one project manager in this type of project, where this project manager will take a responsibility on planning and execution. The commercial alignment will be a single tender and contract, and then compensation for the service company will be based on the project operation success. In this case, the service company will involve in the operation decision making. The remuneration that we have is a price book. And as mentioned, the incremental remuneration will be agreed operation KPIs. The example of the operation performance commercial models is, let's say there is an operator who wants to develop certain area of the fields by drilling and complete a new well. It doesn't have to be drill and complete, it can be just workover. So they give us 10 numbers of wells. We put a project manager. The operator already have certain contract for certain services, and our project manager will handle the planning until the execution. Okay? And then how we got paid is based on when we sign the contract, we will say that, okay, we can drill and complete this well in 60 days. If we can reach that promise, we will get paid 100%. If we go faster, we will get bonus. And if we go late, then usually we got a penalty. The second commercial model is a production performance. In production performance, the value for the customer is the same, which is operation de-risking, but we also give another value, which is technical de-risking. We're also going to increase the efficiency and operation integrity. The commercial alignment is going to be service exclusivity. So in this type of commercial model, the services on this project have to be with us. So there will be no other player. The compensation will be based on the operation and also the production success. So there is a key element of production in this type of models. And we are going to involve from reservoir until the execution decision making. For this one, we will build also the price book, and the incremental is mostly based on the agreed production KPIs. The example for this one is there is a reservoir, maybe it's for example, unconventional reservoir. They want to drill and complete new wells. They don't have a lot of expertise in terms of subsurface. We bring our subsurface expertise. We build the static models, the dynamic models. We choose where is the well location. We will build the completion design, and we will do the execution. Okay. So we got paid in 2 ways. One is the cost of the wells. And then the second one, we give them a production target. We said that, okay, we complete this well, you will get, let's say, 100 barrels of oil. If we get that 100 barrels of oil, we get paid 100%. We get paid extra. And if we exceed, for sure, it's a bonus. It's a bonus malus. The last commercial models is a bonus per barrel or production management. So the value that the customer will have is the same, except they will get also an access to an asset management practice and processes. The commercial alignment is going to be a service exclusivity. Everything will be with us, unless in certain project, the operator already have a contract with other providers, and we are okay with that, because we cannot just terminate a contract, right? So we say that, okay, you can use other service, but after the contract finish, we will going to offer our service. The compensation for this type of commercial models is aligned to outperform the asset target or baseline, production baseline. And we are going to participate on every single asset management decision making. We will build a specific price book for every services in the fair market price in that region. And the remuneration is bonus per barrel or dollar per barrel scheme. So this production management, in this production management type of commercial model, we are not talking number of wells, we are talking the whole asset. So we go into that asset, we will sit with the operator every single day. We will be in the field operating that field. Okay? And then we will build starting from the conceptual FDP, engineering and design, execution, and monitoring. And then the compensation usually is going to be two types. One, if we maintain the baseline, so the asset is ongoing asset, and usually they have a baseline. So we will get paid if we can maintain those baseline. And then we also going to get paid in the dollar per barrels if we can manage to increase their production. So currently, Schlumberger itself already have more than 50 years experience in integrated production contract. So it started in 2003, if I'm not mistaken, in Colombia. And then the next year, we started in tight gas asset in Romania and also in an offshore asset in Malaysia. We are currently co-managed more than 200,000 barrels of equivalent per day, and we are involved in the various assets around the world. So the one with active mark is the production management or dollar per barrels commercial models. We currently have a few assets under that models, one in North America. We have 3 in Latin America. We have 2 in West Africa, and we have 1 tight gas asset in China. Other than that, the yellow dots is showing our assets that is under the production performance. We have more, I just didn't put it in here, but we have one in Pennsylvania, US for unconventionals. We have one in Norway with one of the player in Norway. We have one in offshore North Sea. We have 2 in Middle East, and then we have 2 in South Asia. So as I mentioned before, one of the advantages of going into an integrated project is the service provider or the service company usually always have a governance process in place, a solid governance process in place. So we also have a governance process in place. And the governance process usually starts from the business development stage up to the transition, execution, until the closure of the project itself. So we follow rules. So in this presentation, I'm going to show more to the business development process. So the business development process, we started on the screening. So during the screening, we will have a deliverables of portfolio fit analysis of the project. We will sign a non-disclosure agreement with the operators so we can access their data. We will build a scope of work, a very simple scope of work on the development plan. And we're also going to create the budget. The process for the screening will take around 2 to 3 weeks. Once we finish this screening, we will go internally, we will go into a review. So the review board consists of all the domain leader, starting from subsurface, surface until surface facility. And we also have a commercial team in here for reviewing our project. If they give us the green light, we go to evaluation. So the deliverables of an evaluation is a conceptual FDP. And during the evaluation, the BD team will start to sign the term sheet and also negotiation in terms of the commercial parameters. In the evaluation, we do also risk factors. How we know the risk factor? Because during the evaluation, we will send the engineers who is involved in the evaluation to the field. So they will check, especially in surface facility, the integrity, capacity, and for production, they will go and interview the operators about their production problems and etc. The evaluation took around 2 to 4 months, depending on the complexity of the asset itself. Finishing the evaluation, we again go for a review. We call it an IPR, or integrated project review. So in this integrated project review, we still have to face the domain leader for every single discipline. But not only that, we will have legal, we will have HR, and we will still have the commercial people in front of us. Once the green light done, we go to negotiation with the operators. We will get an approved agreement form and a project memorandum. Negotiation usually lasts around 6 to 1 year, depending on how difficult it is. And bear in mind that in this negotiation, it's not all about commercial, but sometimes it's also about the technical. So we are trying to align the technical decision for the project in this negotiation. If there is a drastic changing in the technical description of the project, we will have to go back again to do the IPR, to review again with the domain leader. Negotiation done, we go to approval, we got signed contract. So in the next following slides, I will show some case study that we did in Middle East, and I personally involved in this one as well. So it's a HALWA project in Middle East. We started from the screening. So the screening, if I'm not mistaken, was started in end of 2016. It was done around 4 to 5 weeks. We have 5 technical people, which is geologists, RE, PT, economists, and we have a pursuit leader. We also got help from our drillers to build an AFU of the wells. During the screening, usually we have a very, very limited data. We do have access to the production data either in Excel format or either in OFM format. We have access usually to a simple static models. We have a few logs, description of the surface facility, a bunch of presentation, and based on those data, we came out with asset review. So in this asset review, we are going to check whether, for example, does the description of the facility make sense or not, how they are going to sell, is there a buyer for their gas, and etc. We're also going to verify the in-place calculation because, unfortunately, lots of companies try to boost up their in-place. And then we come out with a possible development strategy. For example, are we going to do workover, or are we going to focus on drilling? Are we going to frack, and etc. And we also built a very cost economic evaluation. But bear in mind, when we say cost, we still build a well AFE, a rough well AFE. We build well OPEX. From a surface facility, we will build a facility CAPEX and facility OPEX, and we will run the economic evaluation, not only for us, but also for the operators. This is the example of portfolio fit analysis. Ideally, we want to be in the medium and high side. If it's all green, it's also doubtful. It's too good to be true. But if it's all red, then we are not going anywhere. So this HALWA project went into an evaluation in 2017. So it was 4 months evaluation, and it was a big team who involved in this evaluation. We have more than 15 seniors and principals engineers from various disciplines for this project. And the reason is because this project is one of the giant mature oil field in Middle East, and it started production since 1932. The reservoir is very complex. It was a stacked oil and gas reservoir, clastic and carbonate, heavily faulted. We have multiple fluids. We have heavy oil in the shallow layer. We have light oil, and then in the deep reservoir, we have gas reservoir. The operation, we have the data for 80 years of production. That time, they have more than 1,600 wells active with various type of wells. And the current production that time was around 42,000 barrels oil per day with a water cut of 90%. So it's a very, very big project. It's actually around 6 reservoirs that we evaluate. This is one of the reservoir, which is the heavy oil. This is the most shallow reservoir. So the workflow is just a normal workflow of a field development, right? We started with the subsurface. So the petrophysics, the GNG will work together to build a new static model and calculate the in-place. When the static model ready, it goes to the RE, and the RE will build the dynamic models. And bear in mind, in this shallow reservoir, the RBL, the reservoir itself is not 100% heavy oil. So the northern east is the light oil, not light, but around 25 API oil, while the central area is the heavy oil with 13 API. Together, when they do the dynamic model, we also do the production data analysis. And this is very important, especially for the heavy oils wells, because when we do the evaluation, they already start steam injection. So we want to know how effective their steam injection are, because their steam injection is also various. Once we are finished with the dynamic models and we have a conclusion from the production data analysis, we come out with a development strategy. In this case, the development strategy is two types. We will do a CSS, and we also do a normal cold production for the northern east area. And the strategy is, instead of focusing on the existing well, we just want to drill. So we built a completion design, introduced a new technology, especially for the heavy oil wells. And because we are going to drill quite a number of wells, we also check the surface facility. We check what is the capacity of their steam generation process, the integrity of the pipeline, and etc. We build the risk matrix, and the risk matrix start from subsurface until surface facility, community, socials, government, and political. At the end, we come out with economic analysis. Once the evaluation finished, that 4 months finished, we go to negotiation and approval. So the negotiation and approvals took quite long for this one. I involved on the negotiation for this project, and it was quite tiring. It was 11 months negotiation back and forth, especially to align the technical description of the project. And then once we agreed between the operator and us in the technical side and in the commercial side, we went into 6 months approval. And why it's long for the approval? Because from our side, the approval goes every stages, right? We start from the area levels. We went into headquarters to get their approval, and we went to the board of directors for the approval. The reason why we have to go to the board of directors, because the risk is high. And not only in financial risk, but also reputation risk. Because if something happened, it's the name, it's the reputation that will be risked in here. While from the partner sides, the approval from their side was quite long, because they also have to go to their CEO and board of director, and they also have to get approval from the government Ministry of Energy. So that's why it's slightly complicated. So the result of this project, the contract signed. But we didn't get all the 6 reservoirs. We only got the 2 shallow reservoirs, which is the most complicated one. And the details of the contract is we are committed to drill, stimulate, and complete 8 wells in the first years and 12 wells in the second years for the faulted carbonate reservoir. While the other commitment is to pilot the CSS for the heavy oil with 1 year monitoring. The remuneration is based on service fee and production. So this project is under production performance commercial models. And we will also put a dedicated joint production management team for a knowledge transfer between us and the operators. And also this JPMT will run the show. So they will monitor and supervise the day-to-day operation on the site. As per December 2020, this is the data of January 2021, since we signed the contract, so the contract was signed in 2018, mid-2018, we are managed to improve the operating cost per well up to 20%. And the reason is because it's an exclusivity. We managed also to increase 4 times production per well versus the historical production. And the reason is because a different approach on development and also new technology that we introduced in the well completion and drilling. As per March 2021, we got a very good news, which is a contract extension for 238 wells. And we moved from production performance type of models into a production management scheme. So this is one of the success history of the project that we have. The conclusion is a very thorough screening and process is needed to minimize the risk. And bear in mind, the risk is not only for the service provider, but it's also for the operators, especially for the private equity or for investor who doesn't know anything about the field, who doesn't know how is the condition of the field. So we go a very thorough evaluation and we give them, okay, this is the risk that you're going into. The second conclusion is integrated contract will help the oil and gas operator to access technology in a very fair market price, because first it's our own technology, and we will build an exclusive price book in a very, very fair market price in that region. Okay, and lots of cases is we always most of the time we do a pilot of a new technology which is free of cost in our asset. So we just do a trial, and then if it's no result, then they don't have to pay. But it's a brand new technology. And Schlumberger integrated project management is a proven approach to increase marginal field production. So on the right-hand side is one of the example of the production data in one of the asset that we have. It's a tight gas asset. So the black line is the baseline production that we agreed. The red is the actual production. So as you can see, we increased double the production for this field, right? The blue dot is the production from the models. And then the brown line is our internal target production. The last conclusion is commercial models for this type of project needs to be hybrid. It is very hybrid, right? It's all depending on the project and the partner complexity. So there is no commercial models that is set on stone. It's all, that's why the negotiation takes long, because sometimes we have to respect the partner complexity as well. So this is my last slides. Thank you for listening. Question and answers are open, I think. Back to you, Deva.
Yes. Thank you, Mbak Beryl, for the great presentation. I hope everyone in the room enjoyed it as much as I. Now I will open the floor for some questions, question and answer session. So for the first one, we have Mas Yusuf Alfian from Premier Oil. You can unmute yourself, Mas.
Hello, good evening. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Deva. Thank you for the opportunity. Well, actually, I'm going to ask by chat, but somehow I entered and it comes out in the chat dialogues. Well, basically, that was a very interesting presentation, Beryl. Very good case. So what I'm curious about is you present that it is quite complex cases. You have hundreds or thousands wells in that reservoirs. I'm just curious what kind of technology and what kind of new development approach that you introduce to your partner, to the oil and gas, to the oil company from Schlumberger.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for the question. So the new technology that we introduced for the heavy oil, as I mentioned, they already have existing wells under the steam injection, but somehow the SOR of those wells are quite high. It reaches above 8, right? And as we all know, the rule of thumb of SOR is going to be below 5. So what we introduce is in terms of completion. So we install a bright blue, which is a continuously tracer in the producer wells. So we can identify whether the steam injection is effective or not. So that's in terms of completion for the heavy oil. And other than that, because the existing wells, the pattern of the steam injection are not there. So we try to build a new steam injection pattern based on the result from the dynamic simulation, and we implemented that one to this field. While for the fractured carbonates, the existing wells, they do hydraulic fracturing, but they all are vertical and slanted wells with only single stage. What we do in here now is we do horizontal wells because it's quite a thin layer. I mean, not very thin. It's around 10 feet to 15 feet. And then we do multi-stage fracturing with a broadband, a new technology, and then a very robust flowback. So that's the technology that we introduced in here. We also changed the artificial lift method from sucker rod to a gas lift because we do notice that this field have a lot of gas production coming from a different reservoir, and they are flaring it. So we said that instead of flaring it, let's do a gas injection. But since the gas is quite corrosive, we built a new facility for a gas treatment in this field.
Okay, thank you, Babette. And if I may ask one more question, Defa.
Yeah.
I'm curious about how your team and the operators work. Are you working independently and then the operator wait for your work, or are you working together with the operators to develop the production development plan?
We work together. So when I was, a few years back, I will sit with them in daily basis, and we work together. Every single decision, every single problem. Let's say one of the wells suddenly died. We went into meeting together. So we discussed, okay, what is the best way to do it? And then I was even involved, like, because when I was there, it was an offshore project. So I checked, like, okay, which unit that we can bring in, whether our steamboat, because it was a stimulation, is in place or not, how we arrange it. So we work together with the operators.
Okay, thank you, Babette, for your answer. Very good answer.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the answer, Mbak Beryl. We have another question here from Pak Teddy. How is the cost sharing schemes between the operator and the service company? In this case, Schlumberger maybe. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, depends in the commercial models, right? So in the operation performance, the cost, the well cost will be 100% by the operator. It's just that if we don't meet the KPI, they don't need to pay 100% of the cost. That's if the commercial model is the operation and production performance. In the production management, if we are talking about asset, we don't involve in capex nowadays. In the past, in the very, very past, like 3 years, 5 years back, we still invest. So we invest in the capex. We put money, usually depending on the percentage of the production. When I was in tight gas, it was 50-50. When I was in the offshore, it was 80-20. So 20% was us. But in our existing asset, the one in China, it was a JV. So we involve only 48%, and then the partner have 52%. In our asset in Latin America, we are not involved in the capital, but we are involved in the OPEX. So in the OPEX, we agreed to pay 50% of all the OPEX with an incremental value of production. So in our asset in Nigeria, because it's a greenfield, so we are not involving in any cost, but we will give our expertise for free. We will put a team in there to build this field, and then we got paid based on the team performance.
Okay, thank you for the answer, Mbak Beryl. I hope that answers your question, Pak Teddy. We have a question here from Christian. So there are 3 questions. The first one is, does integral contracts integrate maintenance, considering the oil field targets being mature fields?
Yes.
The question, okay, yeah, because
so
OPEX,
right? We are talking well and facility maintenance, right?
Yep.
Okay, so yes, well maintenance, yeah. So like for example, slick line run, or if you are under ESP replacement will be included, gas lift optimization will be included, I don't know, sand clean out will be included. So yes, that's all are included. And in the facility point of view, we also include the maintenance of the facility as well.
Okay. And this is defined, oh, okay, continuing to the second question, and this is defined in the contracts, right? Is it is it in the negotiation phase or like in the final phase?
So during the evaluation, we will include all the type of the well maintenance, and then we will also include the cost of maintaining the facility. So in the OPEX, in the evaluation analysis, there is 2 type of OPEX, which is the well OPEX and the facility OPEX, and they are all included on the run of the economic.
Yeah.
So based on the result, we will bring it to the negotiation, and we'll say that we will always involve, right? Because if you don't maintain the wells, if you don't maintain the facility, there is no production for both of the partner. I mean, for us and for them. So it will divide in the negotiation, but the percentage, how much we involve, it depends.
Okay. All right. And the last question is regarding the risk analysis. How does the operator deal with the asset integrity in the risk analysis? Probably like if, how does the company define if it's like a high risk, and how do they determine like the amount of money that they will pay for the service company, for example? Is there
okay, so let's go back to this case study, right? So this field has been producing since 1932. So the risk, the integrity risk was in the surface facility. There's a lots of lines that is leaking, and then from the wells point of view, the amount of sucker road, the road changing is a lot. There's a lots of tubing leak identified in there. So the risk was high for us to enter it, right? And then we said to the operator, okay, we need to fix this, right? So this is the cost to replace the line. So we said that we need to replace this line. This is the cost. And then we also said that if we don't do so, for example, because of its well integrity, we propose to change the material of the tubing. And then we said that we want all the new wells to change the tubing material, and this is the cost. And then we also have a risk of a flow behind casing, and we also said that okay, this is the cost of the remedial cementing. So all of that are given to the operators in advance, and it's not only their responsibility. We will share that responsibility, because at the end, we are going to help them to produce, right? We are not just going to say, hey, operator, this is your problem, take care of it. No, it's not like that. We are going to do it together. For the social, that's different. So in this asset, it's Middle East. So during winter, people are literally barbecuing near the wellhead, which is increase the HSE risk and the social risk, right? there was a lot of accidents because of you cannot control the people. The field is in the middle of the town. So we said to the operator, we said that we need to do some CSR, right? We need to educate the people. We need to put more sign and etc. But for social, we cannot involve. It's for the social risk. We will give it to the operator. Same goes with our asset in Amazon, right? We have a lot of strike from the indigenous people, but we cannot do anything. We will have to give it to the operators because they are the one who been recognized by the people in near the field.
Okay, thank you for the answer. I hope that answers your question, Christian. All right. So I have a few questions from my side, actually. I was just wondering because the contract, it seems like it's longer and presumably it would be more expensive. So how different it is with the traditional contract that is usually done between service and operator company?
Okay, so when we talk about production management contract, the one that we have is the China one is 30 years. The one in Latin America is 15 years, right? So as you said that it's a long duration contract, anything can happen, right? So for example, what happened in our Latin America, the president changed. They changed the president, policy changed, right? So when the policy changed, we negotiate again. We renegotiate the contract. Okay, we try to approach the new government and we renegotiate the contract. It happens also in our ex project in Kazakhstan. The president died. The new president doesn't want to continue with us. So if that's the case, we just try to play with the operator, not play, but we try to sit together with the operator and find out the best way how we can manage this. Okay, and the difference with the normal contract that we have, in the normal contract that we have, usually the KPI is just the service delivery. So if you call Schlumberger Wireline, you just say, okay, this is the contract. You need to do, I don't know, PLT in 3 wells. You just do PLT. If you deliver good, you get paid. So in here, it's much more than that. So the KPI for integrated contract is usually related to performance base in terms of execution and production.
Okay, I see. Okay. Has this type of contract also been done for EOR projects, maybe?
EOR, no, not yet, I think. Let me remember.
Oh, okay.
Yes, we do have EOR in North, sorry, not North, in Mexico. So it was an EOR. We have an asset, a very small asset with one of the company in Mexico. And yes, we did an EOR in there. We pilot the EOR. And the one in Eastern Malaysia, we also pilot an EOR for a gas well for the offshore part of Malaysia.
I see. Okay, thank you for the answer, Mbak Beryl. While waiting for more questions to come, I'm just wondering, I'm very intrigued by this graph. So the blue dots is the prediction production. Is it the forecast result? And the red one is the actual? It seems like very close. Wow, that's good.
So the way we do it is every single month we do a technical potential for every single wells. So we build a technical potential for every single wells using from well tests, and then we run it also in the dynamic in Eclipse or in Petrel, right? So we came out of, okay, this is the technical potential for every single month. For a project management, once a year, we are submitting WPB, work program and budget, including the expected production from the model and also the target. The target is usually come from the management. The blue usually come from the technical people. But that's what we do. And this is the blue dot and the brown line came early once a year. So once a year we submit that.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, it's a very good model then. A very good technical people working on it.
I think it's because the field is quite. I mean, I'm not going to say simple, but it's very easy to manage. It's only 49 wells. It's a gas, tight gas, but it's a clean gas. It's 99% methane. So facility-wise, it's still good. So it's very quite simple in terms of operation for this one.
I see.
We barely have production losses or anything for this one.
Okay, I see. All right. Okay, thank you for the answer again, Beryl. And for the participants, if you have any more questions, we're going to wait for you guys. You can type it in the chat box. Okay, I think there's no more question. All right. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just reading a chat here. Okay. All right then. Thank you so much, Beryl, for making the time for this event. Oh, yeah. Sorry. All right. Yeah, this brings us to the end of the event. So thank you again, Beryl, for making the time for this event and presentation, and also for the discussion. And also thank you for the participants for joining in. I hope that you enjoyed and learned a lot from our speaker presentation and discussion. And for the students and also young professionals, please look at the link at the chat box, give us some feedback, and also for everyone who wants a certificate of participation, you can request it in the link posted in the chat box. All right. So with that, I'm just going to say have a great day and weekend. Please stay safe and healthy, everyone. And thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Beryl. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.